Good evening, everybody. It is 7 o'clock on Monday, October 16th, 2023, and we'll call this meeting of the Sault Ste. Marie City Commission to order. If we could have a roll call, please. Erica Gordon, Deputy City Clerk. We have the dream team here tonight.
Mayor Gary,
Here.
Commissioner Bauer,
Here.
Commissioner Bospis Rath,
Here.
Commissioner Habusta,
Here.
Commissioner Marble,
Here.
Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Rubenstein.
Here.
Commissioner
Thank you.
Miller did call, and he's unable to make the meeting tonight, so we need a motion to excuse.
So moved.
Support.
Moved and supported to excuse Commissioner Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? He is excused. If everybody could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. We'll skip right down to B, bless you, proclamations and recognitions. Is there anybody here from Friends of Baylis Library? Seeing none, we do have a proclamation for them, so I'll just read it right here from the dais. City of Sault Ste. Marie National Friends of Libraries Week proclamation. Whereas Friends of the Baylis Public Library raise money that enables our library to move from good to great, providing the resources for additional programming, much-needed equipment, support for children's summer reading, and special events throughout the year. Whereas the work of the Friends highlights on an ongoing basis the fact that our library is a cornerstone of the community, providing opportunities for all to engage in the joy of lifelong learning and connect with the thoughts and ideas of others from ages past to the present. Whereas the Friends understand the critical importance of well-funded libraries and advocate to ensure that our library gets the resources it needs to provide a wide variety of services to all ages, including access to print and electronic materials, along with expert assistance in research, readers advisory, and children's services. Whereas the Friends' gift of their time and commitment to the library sets an example for all in how volunteerism leads to positive civic engagement and the betterment of our community. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Mayor Don Gary, do hereby proclaim October 15th through 21st, 2023 as Friends of Libraries Week in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, and urge everyone to join the Friends of the Baylis Public Library and thank them for all they do to make our library and community so much better. In witness thereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the city of Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan, to be affixed this 16th day of October, 2023. Don Gary, Mayor. So we'll have the proclamation for them. Item C is public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to make any comments on any of our regular scheduled agenda items? Not the public hearing, but any of the other items. So anybody in the audience want to speak to any of the items? Moving on into D, which is the consent agenda. Erica Gordon, Deputy City Clerk, welcome again.
Thank you. Item 1 on the consent agenda is the approval of City Commission meeting minutes of October 2nd, 2023. Item 2 is the acceptance of the Airport Advisory Board meeting minutes of September 14th, 2023. Item 3 is the acceptance of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting minutes of August 8th, 2023. Item 4 is the acceptance of the Economic Development Corporation meeting minutes of September 12th, 2023. Item 5, acceptance of the Economic Development Corporation special meeting minutes of September 22nd, 2023. Item 6 is the acceptance of the Tax Increment Finance Authority 3 meeting minutes of August 8th, 2023. Item 7 is the reappointment of Deidre Stevens to the Historical Development Commission. Item 8 is the confirmation of mayoral appointments to the Local Officers Compensation Commission. Item 9 is the resignation of Brandon Johnson from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, effective October 5th, 2023. Item 10 is the consideration of Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning Grant Award. Item 11 is the consideration of DNR Snowmobile Grant Award. Item 12 is the consideration of bid award for the purchase of 2 paint sprayers. Item 13 is the consideration of scheduling a public hearing of the November 20th, 2023 City Commission meeting to consider the adoption of a resolution vacating the full length and width of the southerly 145 feet of West 6th Avenue lying between Stowell's Addition, Addition Number 2, Block 4, and Stowell's Addition, Block 3, together with the full length and width of the alley within Stowell's Addition Number 2, Block 4, with the retention of utility easements. Item 14 is the consideration of Smart Zone lease agreement with Osprey Technologies LLC. And item 15 is the approval of consent agenda items as presented.
Thank you, Deputy City Clerk. You certainly had the hardest job tonight by the looks of the agenda. Would any commissioner like any of those items further explained or removed for individual consideration? Seeing none, Commissioner Bauer.
So moved, we adopt tonight's consent agenda.
Support.
Moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Consent agenda passed unanimously. Moving on into item E, special orders of business. Deputy City Manager Robin Troyer.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item for the City Commission's consideration is a public hearing for the proposed brownfield plan for 538 in Sault Ste. Marie redevelopment project. Nikki Radke from the Economic Development Corporation will be presenting on this matter, and Ms. Holly Roberts is also in attendance at tonight's meeting if the Commission has any questions.
Good evening, Nikki.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to give a quick recap. I know I was here before presenting on this project, but I want to just remind you guys of what's going on with Holly's project. Just a little background, she does have 2,266 square feet of retail space, 4,532 square feet of office space, which is already contracted with the Sioux Area Arts Council, 1,950 square feet planned for indoor parking, as well as 10 apartments and the creation of 5 or more jobs. Holly has so far been awarded a $184,000 blight elimination grant. Recently, congratulations, Holly, she was awarded a $1,250,000 RAP 2.0 grant. And potentially with the acceptance of this brownfield TIF, she could be awarded a $1.5 million CRP grant. And this is all additional to her personal investment that she'll be putting into the development. This building is functionally obsolete with lead paint and asbestos, and we're estimated to repay her about $174,000 of eligible activities over a 10-year period, plus about $100,000 that will be that will go into our local brownfield fund, and this is all through local and state capture.
Thank you, Nikki. We will go into our public hearing.
Okay.
So I'd like to open the public hearing for the purpose of receiving comments and testimony concerning the proposed adoption of an amendment to the Brownfield redevelopment plan for the 538 in Sault Ste. Marie redevelopment project as presented. Anybody in the audience have any comments or questions on this development? Sure, would you like to come up to the microphone, please, Ms. Roberts? This is so the people at home can hear your excitement about the project.
Well, I am
Thank you for coming, Holly.
Oh, I'm glad to be here, and I really am excited about this project. And if anybody has any questions, I'm always happy to answer them. I haven't done this kind of thing before, but I have found the community to be so supportive and so helpful and tell me when I'm screwing up and say, no, go that way, not that way. But anyway, I hope it's approved, and within 2 years from now, that place should all be up and running. That's my goal and my wish. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you, Holly. Anybody else have any questions or comments? Okay, we will close the public hearing for the proposed adoption of the amendment. City Commission, any questions for Nikki or for Holly, who is here? And Commissioner Bospas Rath, would you like to make a motion?
Okay. Two actions, right? So I'll read the first one and then the second one? Or just the
First one
second?
was the public
Just the
hearing.
second, right? Adopt the included resolution regarding the amendment of this Brownfield redevelopment plan in accordance with the recommendation made by the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority for the 538 in Sault Ste. Marie redevelopment project located on the described premises and as detailed within the proposed amend plan.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much, Holly. Congratulations. We look forward to seeing it completed. Moving on into item G, which is business items. Deputy City Manager Troyer.
All right. Item 1 under business items for the City Commission's consideration is consideration to award design and construction engineering services to Donahue and Associates by qualified based selection for Clean Water State Revolving Fund project. And if we're talking about a dream team tonight, the dream team that's going to present the PowerPoint presentation is our city engineer, David Boyle, our wastewater treatment plant superintendent, Brian Masterson, and our finance director, Kristen Collins. So I'll have them come up, and our water director, Kurt Toos.
That's a big stack of paper there, Mr. City Engineer.
Engineers always got to have a lot of
$1
paper.
million a pound.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I think we have a PowerPoint. Do we have to do it here?
I think you need a sewer for that.
Sewer. Hey, you know, it wasn't going to take that long, so we got to buy.
We got lots of time.
Yeah.
Or is it this one here? It's in the middle there above the window. Other one, right? That's not.
That's not it. That's it right there. Yep, there you go. Thank you. Okay, so we've been talking about this SRF project for a little while. So last Friday, October 6th, we finally got the official word that the money is there for us for the taking. So now the hard work begins. So what we did, we requested $35 million. We were awarded $17.5 million in grant, and $17.5 million in a 2% loan. Usual SRF terms. We'll have, our closing will be, I'll get to that a little bit. It'll be in the summertime, but we won't be making full payments until about 2026. And we set this whole thing up based on replace the debt, our existing debt, with this new debt as it falls off. So Kristen will talk about that in a little while. But here's our big thing. We're hoping to come to the commission at the last meeting because we have a tight time frame, and this isn't anything that we developed. This is Eagle that has us on this time frame. So that we can fall into the fourth quarter of closing, this is what we have to do. So we have to get our team on board. And then we got to have draft plans in January already. We'll have final plans and specs in April to Eagle to review before we go out to bid. We'll be going out to bid sometime in the end of May, and then hopefully, when we'll get the bids back and hopefully approve awards the first meeting in July here. Once we do that, then we'll go to we'll send all that information in the Eagle, go to our closing, and hopefully we get a notice to proceed sometime in October. We think the treatment plant work could probably start then, maybe not construction-wise, but ordering materials and stuff. And we're sure the collection system project probably won't start until the next summer, so 2025. So we'll just kind of we'll go and give you a little update on, you know, what we have planned here. Brian?
Oh, thank you. So, if you remember the planning document we got late December, early January, we found that these would be the project goals, and that would be to improve the existing aging infrastructure. Some of it has been in service for 60-plus years. Work towards compliance with our current 5-year NPDES permit, which is the National Pollution Discharge and Elimination System permit that we operate underneath. Improve the reliability of the wastewater treatment plant collection process to meet regulatory requirements. So we want to eliminate our wastewater treatment plant bypasses and our CSOs. We want to increase unit process capacities to address current and future needs. We want to repair existing collection system to limit stormwater infiltration into the sanitary collection system and close the last known 2 CSOs. So Peck and Eureka is what part of the project that would be moving forward. And then Water Street here behind City Hall. And we currently do have language in our current permit that states we must complete these 2 known CSO work by 2027. How do I go forward? Oh, there you go. So this is a list of items at the wastewater treatment plant that we feel that are the most important as of right now. I have a few notes. I'm not going to go through the whole list, but I have a few notes about, you know, it says 5 screw pump rehabilitations. We did 3 this summer on our own. We didn't do any electrical or gearboxes on those, but we did get 3 new screws installed, working good, like they should be. So that's been a big improvement for us there. Down, it's the secondary clarifier mechanism and replacements. We have one that is, we had to basically cut the top part off of it to make it operate so we could still use that clarifier. It is on the verge of not being operational now. So we're keeping it going, keeping it working, but it's not ideal for us. Replace 2 belt filter presses. So that's how we get rid of our biosolids. We have a deal with Waste Management, or GFL. So we have 2 upstairs. One is working and one has been basically used for parts. So we would replace those 2 with 1 new unit, be able to filter press much better than we currently are. And the scum processing system. So once it starts getting cold, we have a dumpster out back that we use for our scum removal. So once it starts to freeze, we cannot use that any longer. So we have to basically wash that in, let it go through the rest of the wastewater treatment plant, and deal with it down the road. So I will turn it over to Mr. Hughes, and he will talk about the work in the collection system. Thank you.
The lovely collection system that we have here. So during this whole process, we identified certain areas in town that are, you know, in need of dire replacement. And the one that got selected for this project is Peck and Meridian, and I'm pretty sure that quite a few of you remember July 29th of 2021 and the subsequent commission meetings with the angry residents that live in that stretch. So that project is funded under this SRF, and hopefully that will provide us with a solution to those problems that we've been having in that area for numerous years. The remaining projects on here will be for future SRF funds at this time. And what we're looking for at the bottom there in green is the collection system modeling. That is something that through this whole process is going to be required of us through changing the wastewater treatment plant and changing the collection system, that we're going to have to eventually model our system and be able to predict flows, and this will guide us better in how to repair and use our funding for the collection system. On to you.
Hello. I know that when I first heard about $35 million, I was glad I was seated. It's a lot of money, and there are concerns, and I'm sure that you all are wondering about how will this affect water rates. So I just wanted to get up and let you know, we have been planning for this a decade. In fact, I pulled up 2017 projections, and the dollar amount of the debt was much higher. At that time, we were considering we would borrow the entire amount. And as you know, half being grant funded is incredible. It's an opportunity we really would not want to pass up. And according to our city engineer, we can't scale it back to match the grant and not borrow. So we have asked our bond counsel to run some numbers. We don't have them all run yet, but we will be presenting them in the next few meetings whenever it comes back to you. But what I have now is to tell you that the water rates are dropping off. You may have seen my big schedule, and it was too big to bring tonight. But we are showing that the current annual debt service has its first major reduction of 26% in 2025, when it goes from 2.8 million per year, and that's principal plus interest, to 2.1 million. In 2031, it drops again to 1.4 million, and by 2033, it's down to 850,000. So we're really seeing all those old issuances drop off. I looked in the file preparing for the audit today, and we had 3 drop off this past fiscal year. So part of our planning process is scaling up the debt service as things drop off. So it looks to me as though we are fully capable of bringing on this new debt, and even if we were to bring it on at a higher rate, bringing it on at 2% is wonderful, and it does fit with our long-term projections. We do project we would have water rate increases of 2.3% per year. It has been 2% in the past, but with inflation and things going on, as you all are aware, prices are increasing, wages are increasing, and so we have brought it up to 2.3 and still have a very reasonable debt coverage ratio. And that's what the bond rating agencies will take a look at. We also have a debt policy. Every time this organization brings on new debt, we take a good look at how we're going to pay it back. That is part of what we do before we bring it on, and you all will see that as we go through the process. We haven't added debt in a long time, so we're kind of out of practice, but we were doing it at a rapid rate at one point in time. Luckily, we've had time to pay down some of that debt. And the long-range forecast is updated each year during the budget process, so that's when you all may have seen it. And so we'll look at it every year as we update rates. Do you have any questions on this section?
Any questions for Kristen? Commissioner Habusta?
Yes, just real quickly, currently some of our debt service is paid off through TIF funding. Do you anticipate using TIF funds to pay this debt?
No. This debt is solely paid by the users of the Sewer and Water Fund.
Okay.
It is absolutely separate, and I'm glad you asked the question. It has no impact on the taxpayers.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other
Any
questions?
other questions? Sure, Commissioner Rubenstein.
Thank you. So I think we all know that construction and material costs can be pretty volatile, and you mentioned that the project can't be scaled back at all if things come back in high. How confident is everyone, within reason, where things are going to relatively fall as bids start coming in?
I'm going to defer to Dave.
Thanks, Kristen. All right, so when we put these numbers together, right, we were working last fall into this year. So we kind of knew where the prices were at, and we inflated everything that we could. So, we don't know. We've already been talking about that. We probably, when we bid them, we'll have to put some kind of either deductive alternatives or additive alternatives, just so we can make sure that we stay within the money that we're receiving from the state.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Chris, I think this is for Kristen. All things being equal, you talked about 2.3% increase. Is that as a result of this project, or is that?
No, that was
just
part
the
of our
nominal
long-term.
increase that we'd be looking at this year? And what would be, I thought we were gonna see an actual impact on the average user as far as to the rate.
I do not believe that will happen. We had, in fact, the 2.3% number was in there before I went in with these numbers to update. And we have been told many times over that small incremental rate increases are much easier for the system, the user, and will result in a better bond rating because of all that. But yeah, 2.3 is basically cost of expenses going up, and what they are trying to get the consumer price index down to.
So project or not, it's going up 2.3% is what your
Yeah.
okay, projection is. So what is that cost to the average user? I don't remember how we switched from EDUs to gallons. Or
I would have to follow up with the average user dollar amount.
Okay. But in the projections, you don't see an increase, you don't anticipate an increase. I mean, there will always be the opportunities as a result of the project.
No,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other questions? Continue on? Okay.
One more thing. Okay, so before I get into the QBS, just Brian kind of mentioned the Water Street thing. That's one of our big CSOs we got going down here. We have a Corps of Engineers 219 grant that we're working with them on there right now to do that work. That was a 75-25 grant, so that was another good grant that we got to try to keep in compliance here. So, so for this money to get our engineers on board, we are an equivalency project, so we have to do a QBS and negotiated contract for this. So we knew, talking to Eagle, that this project was coming, so we put out the QBS to get the contractors on board. We sent it out. We sent it out to every single consultant that we have on our list. It went to state lists throughout the state, and when we got it back, we got one team, Donahue and C2AE. Just for looking at it from this standpoint, when we did the treatment plant review, we had 5 consultants that came in. Donahue was one of them, C2AE was one of them. So now they've teamed up, so they took out 2. And then we had another one, Fishbeck. They sent us a letter, said that they couldn't do it because they didn't have the capacity. And we're certain that others didn't turn them in because they didn't have the capacity, because there's $1 billion worth of new work out this year. So the the selection team got together and we took a look at, we had to rate these because we have to prove to Eagle that we're following the process, so we rated them. The big thing that we have going on here is Donahue. We picked Donahue because they have a lot of experience working with similar treatment plants, similar city sizes and SRF funding like we are doing. And then C2A brings to this, they have a vast amount of experience with our collection system and our past CSO projects. So in the audience tonight, we have TJ Betts from Donahue and Bill Kimball from C2AE. They're here, hopefully getting ready to get started. So the city team has a good working relationship with both of the firms, and we're gonna need it because we don't have very many months here to get all this work done, so.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the commission? I have a couple comments and a couple questions if I could. Appreciate the presentation. Very good job. This is a huge project. We all know that, and we've all known it's coming forward. To put it into context, it's bigger than the Carbide project, which was the biggest project that we've had
Yep.
ever, I think, in today's dollars. And I guess I would have just from our perspective for the governing body, if we could just get a nod from each of you. You all feel 100% confident that this project is 100% necessary. This will close out all the existing CSOs,
Yep.
you hope?
Yeah, well, the ones that been tracked by Eagle,
Okay.
right, so. Yeah.
Good cover.
Well, we found a bunch of them on Easter Day, 129 this year, so.
Okay. And I know I gave you a heads up and asked you, none of you see any foreseeable projects in the next 20 years that would be larger than this or as large as this that will have a significant impact on the rates unless it's driven by regulators or Eagle or somebody.
Yeah, I'll chime in first and you guys can, but so for the wastewater treatment plant, we're gonna fix hopefully most of the ills, so we'll be good for 30, 40 years when we get done, so. The collection system, is always a little iffy, but at least we're getting rid of the CSOs, and then we can hopefully get to a point that, even if we do have infiltration and inflow, that they'll accept what we have at that point. That's what we're trying to get to, so.
Now, on the drinking water side, we're doing very well. We just surpassed our 30-year mark. August 18th was our 30th year. We've treated 25.5 billion gallons over the last 30 years. The water treatment plant's in good shape. We've been making strides to update necessary equipment there and keep it in top-notch shape. So don't expect a new water treatment plant in the next 30 to 40 years. So we'll keep that running straight. Distribution system, the same. It's in good shape. We've been making the necessary repairs as we go along and finding leaks, so to speak. M129 was quite impressive with that water main work up there. We actually noticed about a 5 to 10% reduction in pumpage to the 25th tower because we had so many leaks up there on 129. So as long as we continue the course, we should be, without a large project at this time on the drinking water side.
All right, great.
I cannot comment on the projects, but I will say that the system can handle the debt. It can handle more debt than this if something does come up, which I think relieves us all. I'm looking at the debt coverage ratio without final numbers, and by 2031, our debt coverage ratio with this in is 1.86. anything over 1.05 is okay. So you can see from that number, we've got availability to borrow. By 2037, 2.91. So they keep dropping off, and we have capacity for this borrowing.
During your presentation, you said bond council was running numbers and you don't have them. What was that for?
That's for this
This
17.5 million at 2% borrowing rate. We don't need it for quite a while. These guys are under the gun, but our work isn't needed for till August.
So those numbers are our debt service numbers then? So,
They'll run pricing schedules.
okay.
You haven't seen a borrowing in so long, you probably don't remember the last one.
Yeah.
But when you come to that resolution to borrow, there will be a whole pricing schedule that will show the amortization of the payments going back, and that's run at 2%, but it includes all the closing costs, it includes all the project, and so we'll have to take a look at that and run them.
I'm assuming your estimates were high then.
I think these estimates are high. Now, I didn't have
Right.
the numbers from them, and I just did the math myself. I had projected with, even previous engineer, we had wastewater treatment plant, pump station and improvements. I had 797,000 coming in 2026. I kept pushing it back. And when I ran the numbers, it looked like that would suffice for the first tranche of borrowing that we're talking about here.
All right. Thanks, Kristen.
You're welcome.
And also, as you know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
can speak briefly outside the wastewater treatment plant, the 9 lift stations we have. We've made some strides on them the last couple of years. Replaced some pumps, replaced some electrical. We've done some work in-house, so I don't see anything happening, knock on wood, at those for the time being. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Great. And also, as you've all noted, there's no better time for this funding. We've not seen that. I don't know how long it's been since we've seen loan, I guess it's not grant, but it's loan forgiveness available from state of Michigan, and that's really our only source available for the city, unfortunately, for water and sewer. So certainly is a good time, and I don't think we'll see much more of that coming forward. I think they've exhausted, from what we hear, they've exhausted most of the resources that they have, so. Any other questions or comments? Sorry. Commissioner Habusta.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You brought up closing out the CSOs, and also Director Messon, and you mentioned the elimination of the bypasses. Can you explain the environmental benefit to doing those things?
Oh, it's huge. When we bypass at the wastewater treatment plant, I don't want to say half, but a large portion is only seeing half of the wastewater treatment plant. We're forced to open a valve, and it's bypassing the secondary treatment where the bugs and the bacteria are eating and getting rid of the bad in the wastewater. So we just have to chlorinate and keep an eye on it. So getting rid of that will be great for the St. Mary's River.
Thank you. In a community that is surrounded by water, I think that is a clear advantage that we definitely want to highlight. Thank you.
Yeah, and the CSOs are just a direct dump of sewage, sanitary sewage water right into the river, so we don't have any control over those right now, so they just go.
Thanks, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? Commissioner Bosses-Rath.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that, this is a huge project and you guys have done a lot of work and research, so definitely applaud you guys on that. Anything for the environment is beneficial. Like, we all know that we're living in times that we only have one world, right? I don't really have any other question, really. I think everybody's kind of answered the one that I had, so I just wanted to say great job.
Thanks, Commissioner, and Deputy City Manager Troyer. We've kind of skipped over you, so.
That's okay.
She has some comments.
I do have some comments. I want to echo what Finance Director Collins said. This is a project that we have been planning for many years. And I think it's a pivotal project in our community and one of those once-in-our-lifetime kind of opportunities. $17.5 million grant revenue to do work that we are obligated to do in compliance with our NPDES permit, coupled with a very low interest rate loan is, great to the team. And I want to recognize the team because they have put a lot of time and effort into this project to get us to this point tonight for the commission's consideration. City Manager Chapman, who couldn't be here tonight because he's out on vacation, he's put a lot of time and work into this. City Engineer David Boyle, Wastewater Treatment Plant Superintendent Bryant Masterson, Water Director Kurt Tews, Finance Director Kristen Collins, Public Service Director Tyler Perrin, and the entire engineering department, along with Eagle and our engineering consultants. This is a team effort, and it's a huge project for us to undertake in such a very tight time frame. So kudos to the admin team and our partners in getting us to this point.
Thank you for your comments. Deputy City Manager, any other questions, comments before we roll on it? Thank you very much, Donahue and C2AE for being here tonight. It's an important project, and it's good to see your support of the city staff. All right, who would like to make this motion? It's a doozy. Commissioner Bauer, you had your
Yep.
2 doozies, yeah.
We'll do it. We break those up, obviously,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
please.
I move that we establish the project budget in the amount of $35 million with grant and loan funding as described.
Support.
It has been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? Can we do a roll call on this large one? Sorry, threw a curveball at you.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bastos Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Habusta,
Yes.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
Commissioner Rubenstein,
Yes.
Mayor Gary.
Yes,
Thank you.
motion passed unanimously. Commissioner Bauer.
Further, I move that we approve the award to Donahue and Associates and to authorize the contract based on the CWSRF standards and funding available.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any questions or comments? We have another roll call, please.
Mayor Gary,
Yes.
Commissioner Bauer,
Yes.
Commissioner Bastos Rath,
Yes.
Commissioner Habusta,
Yes.
Commissioner Marble,
Yes.
Commissioner Rubenstein.
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion passed unanimously. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Look forward to 2-3 years of hard work. Like you haven't had enough, eh, with the carbide and everything else. Nice work. Moving on to, do you have any city manager announcements? Okay, we'll skip that one. Item I, which is matters presented by the public. Is there anybody in the audience who would like to make any comments at this time? Seeing no movement, we'll move to item J, which is matters presented by the city commission. City commissioners. Commissioner Rubenstein.
Just something quick. I asked a month or so ago. Has there been any internal discussions yet around parking and getting a committee going? Or I guess I just don't want to get to May and have it sneak up on us.
Good question.
Yeah, the committee has been meeting some isolated issues that we're working to address, but we'll reconvene and look at parking as a whole and get back to the commission.
Thank you.
All right, anybody else? Commissioner Bastos Rath.
I just wanted to remind the public of the crosswalks and the cautions for people walking downtown Ashland. With a lot of traffic and with the change of the seasons, just kind of slow down, be aware. I just wanted to put that little reminder out there. And also, we have Dancing with the Stars for Hospice this Friday. I believe tickets are still available at Kuwait and Box Office. And myself and City Commissioner Scott Marble will be dancing, so Come check us out
I don't know if I'll be dancing as much as you, but
Together?
together.
together.
We are we are Scotty's Hotties. So come check us out. It will be memorable.
It'll be fun.
Good luck. Commissioner Rubenstein.
One more follow-up on the parking. Is the DDA going to be a part of those discussions at all?
We can certainly loop in DDA Director Sprecher into
Okay.
these conversations, of course.
That would be great. Thank you.
Super, thanks.
Do you or Commissioner Habusta want to talk about the Great Lakes State Weekend, or any recap, or put you on the spot?
That's the
Good time was had by all?
That's the advancement office.
Yeah, it was, truthfully, in the almost, I think 4 or 5 years I've been here now, it was one of the best Great Lakes State weekends I've been a part of. The Hall of Fame inductees on the athletic side, the awardees, it was pretty incredible. And then all the events that got put on went pretty seamlessly. So thank you to everyone who came out. Thank you to everyone who was a part of it. It was a lot of fun.
It was great. Anybody else?
I just wanted to say that this Great Lake weekend was amazing for businesses in our town. Brought a lot of people out, I mean, it was just a great event all around. So thank you.
Go Lakers. Anybody else? Commissioner Habusta.
Motion to adjourn.
Support.
I know.
WTF on that.
Well, it's already been the Commissioner Bauer show, so I thought I'd give somebody else the opportunity. So it's been moved and supported. We adjourn. All in favor, say aye.